I want to thank you all for attending today's FMMobile webinar. If you should have any questions, please enter them in the panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will answer them at the end. Now I will turn it over to Brian Haynes, our Director of Marketing.
Thanks, Alicia, and welcome to everyone. I'm going to be talking today about how you can take your Revit facility models to the field with FMMobile. We really believe that being able to take your models, at least from a graphical standpoint, to a mobile device is actually quite simple. What really gets a little bit more difficult is being able to take the model data, all of the information, all of that rich data that's inside of the model, and provide access to it to anyone in the field, and not only just accessing it, but updating it, reporting on it. This could include people such as AEC team members, facility team members, etc. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with just a couple of slides that tell you a little bit about FM systems for those of you who are new to learning out about our company. And then we're going to go right into talking a little bit about our product, FM Interact, which is our integrated workplace management solution, or CAPM solution as some people call it. And then we'll go right into FMMobile. We'll talk about how you can have your Revit models available in the field on mobile devices. So let's get started. My next slide. Okay, so who we are. FM Systems has actually been around for, I should update this, 31 years now. So we're an established software divider in this software player in this market that has been in operation since 1984. Healthy, sustained growth with customers worldwide. I'll show you some of those customers in a few slides. We also take great pride in being able to provide predictable costs to our customers who are adopting our software through fixed price implementations, where we evaluate your needs and then provide our processing configurability, really that 31 years of experience to help you get up and running very quickly with our software. We're also very, very happy about our customer satisfaction surveys. We run these surveys once per year. We reach out to our customers. We make sure that they're happy with everything we're doing, and we're constantly striving for increased improvement. Currently, our satisfaction rate of 93% and a customer retention rate of 97%, which are really industry leading. We're very proud of that. So some of our selected customers, I certainly won't go through this, all of these, because there's a lot of them, but we really have customers across multiple segments, including corporate, financial services, technology, defense, aerospace, manufacturing, energy, oil and gas, pharmaceutical, healthcare, retail services, entertainment, government, and higher education, as well as more. So as you can see, we've got quite a large portfolio of customers. We have customers managing, a few 100,000 square feet, all the way up to customers managing over 100 million square feet in their portfolio. It's really the true strength of using a solution such as ours. And as we're seeing building owners begin to adopt BIM-based lifecycle processes to managing their facilities, including integrating Revit into their facilities process, we're seeing the need to be able to manage tremendous amounts of information coming out of these Revit models. And a single model for a building can have more than 100,000 components, including all of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, the spaces, the actual building envelope. All of that information is really beginning to allow us to take advantage of all of this rich data in our in FM Interact, which is our IWMS product suite. So all of our customers have space and asset management. That's a requirement for our product. Those are what we call our core modules. And then, as needed, they add additional modules for move management, strategic planning, space reservations, hoteling, real estate, sustainability, project management, maintenance. And then really keep focusing today on our mobile capabilities, which is really the key component for taking your Revit models to the field. So just a little bit of information about FMMobile to get us started. This is really the component that allows you to take those models, facility drawings, data, photographs, reports to the field. So this information is taking that FM Interact information and placing it in a mobile device. And FMMobile enables facility team members to access, update, and report on facilities data, drawings, and models in the field from your mobile device. And that's really an important key component of this, is the ability to not just be able to see information, but interact with that information, have our workflow and notification engines work with this process so that you can actually receive notifications in the field, access information. On the left there, you see a facility technician who maybe is doing a PM check or just checking on the condition of a fire extinguisher and accessing the record for that piece of equipment and updating it. Being able to access floor plans, take photographs, essentially using these mobile devices through FMMobile as a field data collection tool for being able to not only populate FM Interact, but also your Revit models. So BIM in the field. Let me just ask you a few questions, which will just sort of give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So what if you could quickly and easily make drawings and data from your models available to facility management team members in the field who have little or no BIM experience? Often we'll have people as part of our team. They could be maintenance technicians, space planners, just simple facility team members, and broader consultants, maybe people who are coming into our facilities who need to access facilities data, and they may or may not, probably most likely they don't have BIM experience, the ability to be able to handle something like Revit. However, they need to be able to get to facility drawings and data very, very quickly, and that's what we're providing here. Or how about reviewing occupancy plans in the field with stakeholders during fit-outs that were generated live from your Revit models? In my past career experiences, I've worked in the architecture profession. I've also worked in the Office of Space Planning and Management at a large university, and I would have loved to have been able to do this. Really go out to the field with a mobile device, sit down with my departmental stakeholders, look at how things were going to turn out during the projects and fit-outs that we were doing, as well as just reviewing occupancy plans. I think that this is a really great capability. Being able to collect data on building equipment and assets in the field that have information immediately reflected in your Revit model. So what if you're standing right in front of an air handler and you scan, you barcode scan or QR code scan that piece of equipment and instantly pull up its equipment record out there in the field, update it, maybe add a photograph, all of that is possible. Being able to provide access to view and query models in 3D in a standard web browser like Chrome or Firefox, or through your mobile device such as an iPad or an Android device, an iPhone. So this is not just about accessing facility plans, it's about being able to have access to the entire model if that's what you would like to provide access to the people in the field. And being able to integrate Revit models into your field data collection workflow processes by providing access to model data to your FM and AEC team members in the field. And I really love this one because if you've ever experienced having to do field data collection during construction or perhaps during commissioning and turnover, even post-occupancy, it can be a real pain if you don't have access to the live data out there in the field. You're writing things down on tablets, you're taking notes maybe on a device, but not really being able to integrate that directly into your workflow processes, and that's what we're providing here. So keeping your Revit models accurate and up to date throughout the entire building life cycle. This is really a huge key here because what we've seen is that a lot of building owners are receiving Revit models at the end of the AEC process. Perhaps they've got a new building, or perhaps they've had a major renovation, a retrofit. Often what happens is that these Revit models end up going on a file server somewhere, not being taken advantage of because there's really no or very limited capability within the FM team to be able to understand how to update and keep that information accurate. So we're providing that as well. So FMMobile is the tool that we're going to be talking about today. It's really a tool that's been purpose-built for mobile workers, allowing you to place those tasks in the field in the hands of the people who need to access that information, update and report on those facilities data from a mobile device. It does increase productivity. Imagine less trips back to your office. You're a field technician out there, or perhaps you're out there collecting field data during construction, and you forgot a piece of information. Perhaps you forgot the floor plan, you forgot where something is located that you need to have access to. Being able to decrease those trips back to the office is a huge way to increase productivity by allowing access to data, drawings, and reports at the point of the problem right out there in the field, which is a huge time saver. And then that ability to be able to access drawings and data any time and anywhere in the field and then collaborate with those stakeholders. So some of our features that we've got in our FMMobile product, the ability to be able to work with interactive floor plans. What we mean by interactive, it's not just a picture, but you can click on the floor plan. You can do what we call graphical theming. You can color code it. You can search for auto zoom to the location of a piece of equipment. Those of you who have worked in Revit, you realize it sometimes can be very difficult to find information in Revit. It's a fantastic tool, obviously, for being able to build that model, but being able to look at all of the information, find things that are missing, we're really optimized for being able to do that. So being able to quickly and securely access those floor plans and accessing, updating, and validating information in the field if you've been given permission to do that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Mobile maintenance. So not only is it data about field data collection, but it's really placing it into the hands of people who need to manage day-to-day operations. So perhaps they're doing corrective or preventive maintenance. Perhaps they're doing some inventory management. They're doing asset condition assessment or a walkthrough. And then being able to run real-time reports. So we're not talking about one building here. We're talking about potentially dozens, even hundreds or more buildings, and being able to report across all those, all of that building information. Really the I in BIM is what we're talking about here, being able to run those reports. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about FMMobile in terms of managing your Revit models in the field. This is, I really love talking about this topic. So this is showing a diagram that we've produced. We've included this. We've got a nice BIM modeling guidelines that we've developed for building owners to help them understand how to communicate their needs to AEC team members for design and engineering and then construction. This is just an example. This is simply an example. This is not a sort of a mandate or a guide or anything, but this is just showing you that potentially during the life cycle from design and engineering through construction, building commissioning into operations, little pieces of information need to be collected on every single individual piece of furniture, fixture, and equipment and spaces, all of that stuff that are going into your facilities. Little pieces of information need to be collected on the way. By allowing those people who are closest to this information in the field, we can start by collecting that data very early on. Design and engineering information, performance data, the location of where that equipment is going to be installed, and then during construction, when it actually gets put in place, being able to log the manufacturer of the model, the installation date, and by who installed it, warranty information so that we can start managing our equipment if warranties are associated with that. And then during commissioning, perhaps we're going to go out there and we're going to put a serial number or a barcode or a QR code on that piece of equipment, perhaps a little bit longer of a description, essentially being able to gather richer and richer information throughout the process. And we're enabling this through a variety of means, either beginning with design and engineering, if you connect this data through a web browser, and then as the field conditions begin to take shape, construction is beginning, we're collecting information, we're taking photographs. Ultimately, all of this information can flow seamlessly into operations. And we can add things such as asset tag numbers. We can start doing things such as managing our preventive and corrective maintenance, inventory, asset allocations. All of that can happen over the life cycle, being able to collect this rich field data and have it flow into our models. So the next piece I want to talk about is configurability, views, and roles. This is not a wide open game here. This is not the wild, wild west. We take our data security as well as our customers take our data security very, very seriously. And what this FM Interact allows you to do if you're an FM Interact administrator is configure the software to give selective permissions and access to data coming from your building information models in the field. So this really begins with buildings that have been modeled in Revit. If you have been given access to the location of an FM Interact implementation, and you've been given a secure username and password and access to our web service, and you've got the FM Interact or FM Systems Revit plugin, then you're able to actually take your Revit models, connect them bi-directionally to the cloud into FM Interact, and then begin to provide that information and data out to individuals in the field. In this example, we're looking at somebody who may be a Revit technician or maybe a BIM technician from the building owner standpoint. Maybe it's just somebody on the facility team who needs to bring up that information and then have that model actually reflected or viewable and interacted with directly in FM Interact. Another example would be somebody who's quite a bit different. This maybe is a facility manager who needs to walk the floor, maybe a space planner or project team manager who needs to be able to walk the floor and have access to that rich mobile data coming from the Revit models in the field. And he's got a very different view of the data, perhaps different access to different buildings, different floors, different access to update specific fields than the gentleman above him who's looking at more of a model view. And then being able to provide that through a variety of mobile devices, either tablets, even things such as iPhones and small Android phones, to be able to access that data. This is all highly configurable and secure, and utilizes what we call view and role-based security. So I'd love to talk about this because it's potential BIM field data collectors. And we typically think, at least I think historically over the last several years since we had our Revit plugin and our BIM solution for building owners, I think we were primarily thinking at first about people who were Revit savvy, being able to take those models and then provide access. And then we realized, wow, if we're providing access to the model data to the field, we can also allow all of those people out in the field who may be a lease administrator, maybe a space planner, maybe a facility manager, maybe somebody who's on the AEC project team. It could be a subcontractor or consultant. All of these people can potentially be accessing this data through a variety of devices, including mobile devices. And as they make these updates or changes to information, believe it or not, your Revit models are actually getting updated as well. So it's really a fantastic ability to be able to do that. And I recommend that you sort of stretch the way you think about this. Don't think about building information modeling as being about just simply Revit or a single person who's a BIM technician, but really including everybody in the process who can access and update that data. All right, so navigating Revit models in the field. So there's really multiple ways that we see our customers using this. One is simple handheld BIM data access, being able to walk up to a piece of equipment, type in perhaps its asset ID or perhaps even barcode scan it and instantly bring up that equipment record. Add things like serial numbers, take a photo, and that's probably the simplest way to be able to do this through a handheld, small handheld device. Another way is being able to use floor plans. This floor plan you're looking at right here in FMMobile is being generated directly out of Revit. The exact same floor plan that we've got developed in Revit, we're making it accessible and viewable at FMMobile out there in the field. So on the left, we've got simple handheld access to the data. In the center, we've got floor plan-driven BIM data access where I can literally use my finger gestures to pinch and zoom. I can poke on those spaces. I can select pieces of equipment and automatically pull up information about that equipment and update it. And the last, this would be probably the most sophisticated way, and this is through something that we've now integrated, which is the Autodesk A360 Large Model Viewer. This is a fantastic tool, and it allows you to stream the entire model to the browser or to the mobile device very, very quickly and easily. And right now, I'm actually looking at the 3D geometry-driven BIM data access, being able to pinch the zoom, rotate around this model, select an element in the model, and not only see the data that's coming from Revit, but also see the data associated to that piece of equipment that's in FM Interact. I could do things such as pull up photos. I can look at manuals, specifications. I can look at installation data. I can look at preventive maintenance schedules, corrective maintenance history. I can see where this equipment's been installed, all of this through these variety of different devices. All right, so another one I wanted to talk about is actually populating a Revit model or integrated workplace management solution in a variety of different ways. So it's not just about accessing that data, but as I pull it up on my smartphone or my tablet, or perhaps even supplement that BIM data, and we're really talking about the IM BIM at this point, as well as supplementing it with things such as photographs. Obviously, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Being able to take photographs of installation conditions before they all get covered up and have that as a permanent part of your facility's data record is really, really groundbreaking. And being able to take that information and as we're doing it, have it flow directly into the information flowing directly into Revit. So the Revit model is actually getting updated. So if I put serial number in there, if I put asset tag number, if I put manufacturer, model, if I put installation information, whatever the building owner has decided they want to collect in their modeling guidelines, you can actually get that information in here through the field. Not only is it going into the Revit model, but it's going into FM Interact, our IWMS solution, where a lot of additional information can be attached to that BIM data, including photographs, documents, workflow processes, notifications, etc. So really about gathering that field data and then providing access bidirectionally to anyone who needs to access that facility information, either in the field or back at their desk. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do before we wrap up and take a few questions is I'm just going to show a few short demonstrations. I recorded these using my iPad. The first one I'm going to show, and let's make sure we're looking at this. Yep. Is I'm actually navigating into my facilities portfolio of information. I'm going to open a Revit model right in my iPad, and this is hitting a live server, and it's going to bring up. You'll see how quickly it's going to stream this model to the FMMobile interface, and I can use all of my typical pinch to zoom, pan, rotate capabilities in this model. You'll see how smooth it is, and Autodesk has done a phenomenal job of streaming very large models. And not only can I do that, but I can actually look. I'm going to poke on this piece of equipment, and it's going to bring up all of the information about that piece of equipment. I can edit this data. In this example, I'm going to go ahead and create a work order against this piece of information. But keeping in mind that a lot of this data that's coming into here is actually being collected in the field and then populating this Revit model, which we're then providing access to. All right, so that's one of my little demonstrations here. The second one is I'm just going to show something that's maybe not quite as slick as the previous one, but this is really round-tripping asset data, which I think is fantastic. So in this example, we're showing FM Interact. This is our IWMS solution, and I've got really rich information associated with this furniture, a piece of equipment in my inventory. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and show you right there. I've got conference-T-1. That's the asset tag number on this piece of equipment. And I'm going to zoom to the location of where this piece of furniture is actually located in my portfolio. Check this out. I'm going to bring up the furniture plan. We've got that piece of equipment or piece of furniture in here, and we're just showing that. Now I'm actually going to pop out to FMMobile. I'm going to log in with my secure username and password, and I'm going to go and I'm going to pull up that same information. In this example, I'm going to search for and locate that piece of equipment, because if you can imagine, often you'll have not just one piece of equipment. You could have potentially thousands of pieces of furniture. I'm going to do a keyword search. It's going to immediately bring up that record, and I'm going to go ahead and select that record. It's going to bring up all of the details about that piece of furniture. Now, this could be a piece of HVAC, mechanical equipment, plumbing equipment, whatever. And all of that data is live, including asset tag number, etc. I can supplement this data. I can change it. I can modify it in any way, and as I hit save or submit, as long as I've got permission to do this, this data is actually going to flow right back into my Revit model and update it, which is really fantastic, because we now potentially have anyone on your facilities or AEC team out there in the field who is able to help you collect that really important data for the building owner through construction, even doing just typical walkthroughs, field verifications, asset condition assessments. We really have an opportunity every time we're out there in the field to supplement this data, modify it. This example now, I'm going back into that same piece of equipment, and instead of just looking at a data view, I'm going to auto zoom to the location of the room that's got that piece of equipment in it. Now, the last thing I wanted to show here before we wrap it up is being able to look at hundreds of thousands of equipment and space records across potentially hundreds or thousands of buildings, or maybe even if it's just a couple of buildings, can be really difficult, especially with building information models, because of all of the data that's in there. Being able to report across all of those facilities at one time with a really powerful reporting engine is really an additional capability that comes along with all of this field data collection that we're doing. So without further ado, I know I've been talking at 100 miles per minute. We want to make sure that we respect your time, stay on target. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it up now, and we're going to go ahead and flip over, Leisha, to the question queue, I believe, and see if there's any questions that Bill has not answered. How are we looking on the questions?
Yes, and thank you to Bill Meyer, one of our senior application engineers. He's on the line, and he's been answering the questions as they've been coming through. So again, if you have any questions, please enter them in the panel on the right-hand side, and we will go ahead and answer those for you.
Yeah, and please feel free to reach out to us. I know I covered a lot of information very quickly. We've got some additional information and videos on our website in our resources area, but we've got some really terrific resources. If you'd like to get a closer look at this, obviously get a full demonstration where the technician on the line will actually take a breath every once in a while, as opposed to what I do, talking very, very quickly. We'd be more than happy to show you a more in-depth demonstration of the really powerful capabilities that we have of being able to take your Revit models and providing field access to being able to update that information and maintain it. Alicia, I think we're looking pretty good.
We are. There's a few that have come through that Bill has not yet answered in the pane. One of the questions is, where is the Revit model?
Great question. The Revit model could potentially be located anywhere. Often we'll see owners really do it in a couple of different ways. For the most part, up until this point, they've been having people who are Revit experts maintain those models for them. This could be architecture, engineering, or construction firms or consultants. And that model would be maintained by them in their facility. There is a plug-in that goes into Revit, and in that plug-in, you connect the model via the cloud through a username and password and what we call a web service, which is the location of where the owner's FM Interact implementation is, and you can actually maintain that data remotely. So it could be in your office. The other thing we are seeing facilities management teams beginning to develop this expertise in-house. They're managing their own Revit models and keeping them on their own servers. So we're really seeing a mix, but I think historically what we've seen is Revit experts providing this as a service to our building owner customers.
What if two people modify the same object at the same time?
Bill, I'm not sure if Bill can probably answer that one. That's not one
Yeah, I was on mute here. Hello, everyone. This is Bill Meyer. Yes, so it is possible that two people can be modifying the same data. There's nothing in the system that will prohibit someone from going in and accessing information. You have to realize that the posting of the data occurs when you click on the Submit button. So if you're modifying the same exact field as someone else, the system will record whatever the last update was. So two people can be in the system. Obviously, they can be updating different fields and making the appropriate changes, and the system will record the last modification that was made.
Bill, I believe through security, we could say one person's, we could give permissions to different floors, et cetera, right? So we could say one person.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so we can restrict that in some ways, but not at the actual object level.
That's correct. So you may have some personnel who only have access to certain pieces of information, while others have access to different objects within the system.
This last one, it says, can multiple Revit models be accessed at the same device? And the answer is absolutely yes. We've got customers who, I think when we first developed this Revit plugin in 2010, and we just added the large model viewing capabilities, we released it at Autodesk University this past year in December. Over that time, we probably very early on, I'd say 2010, we had a lot of excitement, but not a lot of facility managers, building owners who were ready to move to BIM. That has massively changed over the last year, and we've got customers coming to us as well as people who want to know about this from all over the place. It seems like building owners are really ready to adopt the use of Revit for managing their facility drawings right now. So it's getting pretty exciting, and we've got people who are bringing more and more facilities. Xavier University is one of our customers that we like to talk about a lot. They're putting their entire campus in Revit and moving all of their facilities to Revit, and all of those are accessible in the field, potentially accessible in the field. I think that's it for the questions, Bill. I don't see any.
Great, thank you. It looks like that's all the questions at this time, and we are right on at 2:30. So. Thank you, Brian, for putting on this great presentation, and for Bill being on the line and answering these questions, and for everyone who was able to take time out of their day today to attend this webcast. So we will be following up. The presentation was recorded, so we'll send the link to the webinar and send the PowerPoint slides out as well. So any questions should arise after the presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Oh, actually, it looks like one more question just came through asking if the data will be on the server and not on the mobile device, and that is correct.
Right, it's on the server.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Alicia. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.